Thank you for that. So how did the FSP prepare you for your internships, your current role? Can you just talk a little bit about what you learned when you were interns and you came to this conference and what you took away and how that propelled you into where you are today?
So I really can't speak much to that because I only attended one FSP event, but just events like this, when people come back and speak to, the interns and, giving them their experience, the do's and don'ts, that definitely helped me a lot. So, but I only attended one, so I can't really speak to it.
Yeah, I also attended one what I would say I took away from it. So at the time, it was at the Fed, and it was more confirmation for me that like this is a place I want to be. I really value true diversity, not the picture on the website, but actual diversity. And so when I came to the conference, I was like, wow, there are so many women in this room that are, corner suite people. There are so many Black and brown individuals which matter to me, and just saying, hearing their experience and saying like, this is a place where I can come authentically myself and all that. So it wasn't so much like a finance lesson, but for me it was more like, okay, great, this is a place where they really want to see people elevate and do well, and they really invest in you, and so that's probably what I took away.
I think for myself, I had a similar experience. I only attended one conference, but I think the lesson I took was just that how important networking is. So at the time when I attended the conference, they were collecting our resumes, so they had my resume, and that's how the Federal Reserve reached out to me. But I think also interning or attending the conference, just seeing all the other member firms, I think at the time I just still didn't have a good grasp of all the different type of roles in financial services. So even just seeing the list of member firms and all the different roles that everyone talks about today, I think helped shape me, or the lesson was just that there's so many different opportunities and you can kind of really find what you're interested in and what you really want to do. And it just doesn't have to be a tax or audit accountant or something like that. Just finding what you really would want to do and kind of curating that for yourself.
Thank you. Now, Stephanie, you mentioned something very interesting. You said you are not for the fake diversity. So, what does real diversity look like, and how do we experience that as analysts or bottom of the totem pole at our company? So, right, we heard from the HR representatives about their commitment to diversity, but how does that actually play out in practice?
Yeah, so when it comes to diversity, my thoughts around it are just not just having a seat at the table, it's also having a voice. And not only do you have a voice, but it's acknowledged and recognized in the way that the other voices in the room are acknowledged and recognized. So when I say that I came in and saw the diversity, it was like, people were like, hey, my experience was this, and there wasn't like but that's not the same experience. It's like, great, mine was different, and that difference in thought, the difference in like ideology, I guess, was so obvious in the room, and I was like, wow, these people are not dismissing each other. It's very much like, you had that experience, mine was different, great. These different backgrounds, we can put out some of the best work because we're really acknowledging each other's, diversity and diverse backgrounds and things like that. And so, and when I say fake diversity, I mean, and this is no like shade to HR anywhere, but everyone right now is like, oh my God, let's put a picture of 6 different type of people and say we love diversity. No, like it really means investing in those people, realizing that there's a gap and doing something about it. A lot of organizations have the space to be like, let's do stuff like this FSP, conference. It's a diverse crowd right now, and I'd love to see that because it's like we're not just investing in one particular type of student. We're investing in a student that kind of struggled through school because they worked 3 jobs, and also the student who got to college and it was paid for, trust fund kids and stuff like. But there's still that acceptance of that. So that's what I mean by like real diversity, where you go, your voice should be valued. You should not be feeling immediately dismissed because you are of a different background than your bosses. You want to go in a room and see, okay, this is not all the same person, cookie cutter officers kind of thing. You want to see that difference. So that's what I mean by that.
And feel free to share Dimaya and Demarcus, I'm sorry.
I would say for me, or I guess I kind of forgot the question a little bit. The diversity.
How does real diversity play out in your role and at your firm? Sorry.
Yeah, so I guess I had a fun experience where at my first job, I was at an accounting firm where there was no one that looked like me in the whole entire company. And then coming to the Fed, I think even just through college, you hear a lot about financial services where there is a lack of diversity, which is why initiatives like this is created. So you assume that everywhere you will go, there won't be people that look like you. And so even coming to the Federal Reserve, you may have the idea that regulators or just the central bank may be a little stuffy, but it was completely opposite. It was a completely different culture than what it was at the accounting firm, and there was so many people that looked like me, and so many different ERGs that catered to just so many different types and so many different identifications and just all of that, that it opened my eyes that there is diversity elsewhere, diversity in financial services, and there are organizations that are focused on having diversity initiatives, and just having those ERGs and being able to get involved with those, also just seeing that they really do care about differences, I think showed me that it is improving and that does exist.
Thank you. For me personally, I would say I definitely experience diversity regularly. Mesirow definitely does put their money where their mouth is. I definitely picked a company that put diversity first and cared about it. Not only do I experience diversity regularly with the people I work with, but in the ERGs, we do have a 6-point DE&I commitment. We do have Peer Connect, where we talk about DE&I across the company, and Pride Connect, where we talk about DE&I within the LGBTQIA+ community. So that diversity in thought, but also just diversity in who's coming to the table and who's presented is definitely something that you need to think about when you're picking a firm. So now that we talked about how we got to where we are today, let's talk a little bit about where y'all are going and where y'all are headed. What does the next 5-10 years look like in terms of goals and where you want to be? I know it's kind of broad, but take it as you would like.
So I just joined JP Morgan about a year ago, and I'm actually having a mid-year review with my manager next week. So we're gonna discuss that. But I mean, 5 to 10 years from now, that's a long time. I enjoy what I do. I definitely want to get better at it. I'm constantly learning, but I don't even know if I'm going to stay in the financial industry. So we'll see. Like I said, I had that talk with her.
No, for sure.
I would say for myself, so the role I'm currently in, I've only been in it less than a year. I've been at the Federal Reserve for 5 years, but I started in consumer compliance in our community banking space, so that's institutions less than $1 billion in revenue or in assets. But so currently I'm working on large institutions, and I'm currently supporting the Discover team and kind of working with them. So I think I would say just being able to continue to learn. I would hope that, I know it may sound cliche, but I guess I just want to be happy and satisfied in my role 5 to 10 years from now, and just still being able to learn. I think the Fed does a great job of allowing you to choose what you really want to do. So even in my current role, I'm able to say I'm interested in a certain area, I want to learn more about that, and I can get put on examinations that focus on that. Or even if I wanted to go and work and help out in Stephanie's department, if I did want to make that switch, they make it so simple for you to do so. So I think even just through the next 5 to 10 years, I want to continuously evolve and develop and continue to learn.
I'm just trying to make it, y'all. I'm not gonna hold y'all. No, but really, I guess 5 years, definitely team lead. I kind of came in as an intern, humbly but seriously, was like, how do I lead this place? How do I run this? Who do I talk to? And since I've been at the Fed, again, I started as an intern there. Since then, I have been put in positions of leadership to make sure that I get there. So now I'm informally a leader within my department, and that's basically looking over the DEI initiatives that we do within finance. And so we do like community circles, we have like those really hard discussions, and so I'm getting that leadership skills to get there. And to Dimaya's point about silo busting is what we call it, when you basically get rented out to another department. I'm currently doing that right now with the DEI team, and so we do work on some projects together around like our employee resource groups, which is the ERGs. I know we kept throwing that out there, I didn't know if anyone knew that. But employee resource groups, and so we work together, finance and DEI, but right now I'm kind of seeing the behind the scenes and taking leadership on some of those really big projects and documentations and things like that we need over there. there, so that when it's time to be like, hey, this leadership role opened up, I already can say like, oh, here are the bullet points of how I've prepared myself, I'm ready for the role. So I would say 5 to 10 years definitely, but to everyone's point, I mean, I also am very flexible. Like, maybe I won't be in finance in 5 years, maybe I will be DEI somewhere. So I guess keeping an open mind and not saying like, this is my path and this is exactly, because I promise you, if you have a plan right now, something, and it's not gonna go the way it's supposed to. It happens every time. So being open-minded to what the future may look like, following your passions. You know, I know that sounds corny, it's like, follow your passions. But no, seriously, follow your passions, because that's gonna make you do the best work. You're gonna put out the best work when you're doing something you really love. I currently love the work I do in discretionary policy making, and I understand how the decisions we make impact communities that I care about and come from. So, you know, I work in that and I love that. So I can see myself doing that policy work down the line. Probably won't go back to like policy or anything, honestly, after my MBA, we're done. But you know, it's like being open to that, having those experiences, and then just saying like, okay, here we go. Like, just, it's a lot, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. When you get to roll and you start to see, and you're like, okay, I like this, I like that, and your 5-year, 10-year, 15-year, 30-year, whatever plan may change. So just being open to that thought as well.
No, for sure. I think there's a lot of variability within the next 5 years for all of us. Me personally, I am currently a wealth specialist, and I'm currently enrolled at Northwestern in their Certified Financial Planners program. So within the next 5 years, hopefully I will be a wealth advisor and a certified financial planner, working to build up a financial book of business and from my own practice one day. It may be at Mesirow, it may be at my own firm, who knows? But it's something that I'm working towards, and it's a goal that I have and I keep working towards, so, for sure. Now we are going to open it up for questions, see what's on your mind, and see if you have any questions for the panelists up here.